We're going live. Here we go. Look. Hey, it's Plastic EP here and the Blues Brothers. Get the jackets, guys.
Look at this
face. Around. Look at that. Oh, I'm scared.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't been this scared since Halloween.
Gee, that's
Halloween,
funny.
Nobody's wearing masks over here this year, mate.
Right. It's Plastic EP interviews, a tribute to the Blues Brothers, George and Timmy. They're just getting their jackets. They won't be a second and we'll have a laugh. This is fantastic, I'm sure. Here we go. There's George. Where's Timmy?
Come on in. Yeah, we're live.
Come on, Timmy.
You
guys are the brothers.
I was busy putting my mask on.
You know what? Can you come in the frame, Timmy? You take all the frame yourself.
You thought
on your own.
You know, I step on the scales and it spits out a little ticket that says one axle at a time. So, you know, hey.
Hey, give yourselves a big hug there.
Oh, hey, like the movie.
Yeah, brother hug. That's what I want to see. Excellent. Do you know if you come to Australia, the animals can kill you? I'll give you an example. Spider can get you. Snake can get you. Do you know what happens? A lot of people watch documentaries about Australia. So what they do is they come to Australia, they get off the plane. It's a hot day. This is true. They drive down the coast somewhere, right? And they just stop the rental car, look out on the water, and think they can just go for a swim. And what happens is the rip. The rip is when the water takes you far out to sea and kills you. You got to be so careful about that. You got to fly. Sorry, you got to swim, not fly, between the flags where they've got people that can watch when you start floating out. Anyway, it's not about swimming, is it? What sort of animals can kill you there in the States?
We got cougars that walk on two legs and got high heels, man. They don't play. Good God. And the problem is, when they're done killing you, there's nothing left in the bank account either. They're like, God.
We got gators here in Florida. That's for true.
Oh, I live in South Carolina, to Myrtle Beach, and I hear you about swimming. We've got gators inland. In the intercoastal waterway, if the gators don't get you, the sharks get you in the surf. You know what? I'm not going to sell the sharks that bad. They're everywhere. Shark bite, you got more chance of getting hit by lightning. So, but they're there. You step on them. Have you seen
the video of the big gator? He's gigantic walking through the golf course there in Florida.
Yeah. Oh, that's the truth. That South Carolina is that too.
I got scared.
Yeah.
Now we've all got a little Steve Irwin in us over here. We're good. Yeah.
I got to say a big hello to Marcia. She says hello to Plastic EP. She's come on. Hello, Marcia. Glad you can watch this. I'm sure you'll share this out to everybody. Now, I got to ask you, with the Blues Brothers movie, what's their name in the movie?
Jake and Elwood.
Jake and Elwood. So who's who now? You're Jake. Hey, is that tattooed or is that done with texter? A pen, marker pen.
That's a Sharpie pen. That's the attitude without the commitment.
Now tell me, when you guys played live, tell me now about your last event. I saw it. Tell me a bit about that, how great that was and where they see it.
Well, that's if you go to Facebook and go to the Orange Blossom Opry page, you can watch the 2-hour rebroadcast with that Orange Blossom Opry band. Those guys are great. Our friend Roger Byers is the owner, and we play the Orange Blossom Opry about three times a year. And along with the malt shop cruises and the flower power cruises that we do here in Florida, last night was the first time we ever did our full show with a band with no audience. There was some technical people there. It was just us, the band, and a couple of camera and sound people. And usually it's like I told you this morning, it's 600 people. And we've sold it out the last couple of times that we've played there. So we're back every 3 or 4 months there. And,
but George, that went out to 15,000 people, didn't it?
Yeah, I looked it up this morning and it said over 15,000 people had viewed that page with the show. So that's great for us. Of course, we started with Ed Sullivan. The show started with Ed Sullivan, and that's when I gave a shout out to you. And Timmy thought it was a joke. He goes, "Guy's name's Plastic."
No, if you watch the show, I was like, I was going to say, you're kidding me. And he goes, no. I said, plastic? Really? Oh.
Plastic EP.
I was totally going to go to the movie The Graduate.
Yeah, but Plastic EP is from the EPs of the 60s, right? Like here's a Monkeys Volume 2 EP. The record's got 2 songs on one side, 2 songs on the other. And it's made of vinyl, which is plastic. That's where I get my name from. Now, plus, I was in a band in 1981. If you look it up on the net, I had a band called Plastic EP in the records. We released a vinyl single. Then we did our second single called When You Want to Make a Record. And it never got released because the master tape went missing. And it was released 38 years later, 2 years ago.
Really? How cool is that? So
it's cool.
EP for extended play, right?
Exactly. But now we call ourselves, after the first year of being called Plastic EP in the records, we changed to the EPs to make it easier. Look at that. What's the name of the cat?
Cougar.
This is Killian.
Killian. Oh, I like that.
We call him Killy.
You know, as I said to you, that concert that you did, George, the quality of that concert, the film, the sound was unreal.
You know, I was telling you, the sound man at the Orange Blossom Opry owned a studio in Nashville. So they've really tweaked it. You can go every week. There's a show. I think Friday and Saturday is their main thing. Then they have a jam night, a jam night. This Thursday, they're doing a special show for education. They're raising money for education, music education. And what did Roger say? That was going to go out to like 23,000.
Yeah, 5,000 students, 29,000 parents. Yeah, they're going to bump that up.
So they're trying to raise money for the arts in Lake County. But no, that's major acts play there. The Gatlin Brothers, the Oak Ridge Boys, Ray Price.
Sawyer Brown, Confederate Railroad.
Ray Price used to play there. Mel Tillis played there. Of course, Mel only lived a little bit up the road in Ocala. But that's been a great venue here in Central Florida for many, many years. A lot of national touring acts. Some of the acts that we work with on the ship will do a stint there. Gary Puckett, the Union Gap played there.
Boys. Yeah, that's our boys.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
You know, next time you do a show, we've got to find somebody technical that can stream the show live to my page, Plastic EP Live TV, so that your performance goes live to the page. We've got to try and organise that. Something main like that, you want it going out to major pages so everybody can see it. I'd love it to go to my page live. You get the link and it's going out there.
You know the guys from the Fab Four, right before this lockdown, Timmy was our driver. Timmy drove the Fab Four all over. We went up to Connecticut. We were in the snow, man. We were in 3 feet of snow. But he's very, very good friends with everybody in the Fab Four.
Oh, yeah.
You know the Fab Four? I told you. I was a fan of the Fab Four because before Plastic EP hit the US. So now that everybody is learning about Plastic EP, I got to tell you, I've been a big fan of the Fab Four. I've been lucky enough to interview Artie. I've been lucky enough to interview Ron. And as I said, I want to get to the other guys and interview them too. But you must have some fascinating stories there, Timmy, about being a driver.
Wow. You know, back this past winter, that all of them said, I'm glad you're driving and not me, because we got up into they came over the radio, blizzard warning, snowstorm warning. And then, then you see the yellow signs on the road that were lit up and said snowstorm warning, storm warning, storm warning. We drove headlong into it, 90 miles into a blizzard, turned the bus a little bit sideways twice, pulling a 3,000-pound trailer full of the gear. And a couple of times it got a little squirrely. 90 miles at 40 miles an hour.
That's it. Hey, that sounds like the Buddy Holly. That's a bit like the Buddy Holly story. Driving the bus that was cold.
I've got a Class A commercial driver's license. Drive the big stuff. I could drive one of your road trains. That's what I'm licensed to drive. And I had to use. I pulled out every trick I knew to drive through this stuff, because if you stop, you weren't going again. and you couldn't go fast, so you'd slide off into the tree line. So it was bad. It's one of the worst conditions I've ever driven in, but the show goes on, man.
It was so cold, the heater stopped working, and Gavin and Adam and Artie and all the guys in the back,
They were freezing. We couldn't do anything about it. The front.
So they give each other a bear hug. They do a bear hug like the Beatles used to be in the van and lie on top of each other to stay warm.
Yeah, it was damn near. It was almost coming to that. I used to be a soldier, and that's how we packed together at Fort Dix, New Jersey, freezing our asses off, huddle up, looked like a bunch of emperor penguins standing out there in a circle. There you go, body warmth. It works, but we didn't. We finally got to the gig, but they were cold. That was scary. Pretty rough.
I got to ask you, George, because you're the MC doing Ed Sullivan, right?
right?
And I got to ask you, you guys have got stories now with the Fab Four. Well, there must be times when fans are coming up to you and saying, "Oh, can I get a signature from one of the guys?" Or something may have happened while you're on tour or something. Can you give me a couple of stories from the Fab Four?
It happens at the shows or right after the shows when they do the meet and greet. But pretty much when they're, and this is the great thing, Tim and I have been in the tribute business. We're a little bit older than the guys in the Fab Four. I was in Legends in Concert almost 27 years. Tim did what, 15, 16 years in Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, 15 in Myrtle Beach. I came on board in 94 and got out in 2010.
And there's an old saying that we have: when the show's over, you hang your character up on a hook in the dressing room.
Leave it there.
And these guys, that's the great thing about the Fab Four. They're very meticulous. The sound check lasts longer than the show because they want every sound, every nuance, every guitar sound. If it's the opening of Hard Day's Night, it's got to sound good, or they'll take 20 minutes. They'll take 20 minutes on one part because it has to sound like the record, and Ron is very meticulous about it. So is Artie. Artie's very meticulous.
So is Michael Amador.
Yeah, and Mike Amador used to play George Harrison. Now he's the sound man. So your sound man can literally jump on stage and play every note of the show. So he knows what it's supposed to sound like. But as you get closer to showtime, at rehearsal, at sound check, they're nothing like the Beatles. Artie's wearing his Dodger hat backwards, or they're wearing sweatsuits.
Is it Artie that listens to A Hard Day's Night before he comes on?
Everybody has their own pre-show ritual. Gavin listens to Oasis or David Bowie. That gets him in the mood. And Artie listens to Hard Day's Night. And, different guys. But about 10 minutes to showtime, these guys turn themselves into the Beatles. It's really, it's so professional. Because you know them. You know them on the road. We're kidding around. You get close to showtime, it's all business. That's the Fab Four. That's what makes, by the second song, the audience is hooked. They're hooked.
Yeah, but they're hooked when you come out as Ed Sullivan, all right? Because it's the hardest part, warming up the audience. So basically, you build it up. And these people are, wait a minute, this is the best part, George. They're not there to see you. They're there to see the Fab Four.
Right here, right now on our stage.
Hey, do you get the joke? So while you're warming them up, they're saying, "Get off, George, get off. We're going to see the Fab Four." You've already warmed them up.
They go to great lengths. Even now, sometimes they'll mention it in the advertisement. That's up to the venue. But the way Ron puts it, they're coming for the Beatles. Also, the stage, they carry 11 guitars, all authentic, all the Beatles instruments. And at the top of the show, they're all lined up and lighted. And they call that eye candy. And people, you can see them. They come up to the edge of the stage. They take pictures. And all the Beatle aficionados can say, there's the Hofner. There's the Rickenbacker 12-string. Oh, there's the Country Gentleman. There's the John Lennon Rickenbacker. It's all meticulous. And Ed Sullivan is the surprise. When the lights go down and I come walking out, unless they've seen the show before, Ed Sullivan is a surprise. So I've got that going for me. And then, of course, in the middle of the show, after Artie sings Yesterday, going from the early Beatles to Sgt. Pepper, I do a little bit of comedy, or I'll talk with someone in the audience and buy them a little time. But
I'm going to say, Ed Sullivan is a very integral part of that show. Without Ed Sullivan, to me, it doesn't make it, because you recreated the Ed Sullivan show from '64, and like you're watching it, and the way you do it, your voice is spot on, and the way you look, like even now as the Blues Brothers, right? You guys come pretty close. The way you look.
You know, we really we're entertainers. If people say, "Hey, what do you guys do?" We say we're entertainers. I never say, "Oh, I'm a guitar player," or "I'm a celebrity impersonator. I impersonate Ed Sullivan," buddy. I never do that. We just look at people and say, like we go through airports, people know, or people come up and say, "Hey, that happened at Walmart the other day."
Yep.
The guy came up to me and said, "Where do I know you from?" I said, "Well, I'm an entertainer." He goes, "That's it. I seen you sing. I saw you sing at a show here in town or whatever." So the main thing is to be an entertainer. Make sure that audience. We ask what do we ask?
Do you want to do the Blues Brothers tonight, or do you want to entertain these people?
We always want to entertain
these people.
We do the Blues Brothers. We do Rawhide and all that stuff. Oh,
Have you heard the joke? Have you heard the joke John Lennon used to say? People used to go up to him, like he might have been in Japan or wherever he went, and someone said, "You look like John Lennon." He goes, "I get told that all the time."
Oh, well, what?
John Lennon, people used to go up to him when he was incognito, and they were scared and they didn't know what to say, and they used to say, "You look like John Lennon," and he replied, "Yeah, I've been told that. People tell me that."
Tell him Gavin's story.
I told you this morning. Gavin was at doing a show in Liverpool 1 year after George Harrison died, and it was a tribute to George Harrison. And Gavin looked so much like him. He's got quite a reputation in Liverpool, and so they're playing at this club, and the rumor was, "Hey, Paul McCartney is supposed to stop by," and sure enough, he did. And when the show was over, they're backstage, and Paul McCartney looks at Gavin, and he says, "You look a bit like George." And Gavin went, "You look a bit like Paul." You know, that Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly.
Humor.
Exactly.
But, that's who you got to get on your show. Gavin would be a great guest.
Yeah.
Just terrific.
Don't worry, when I've got the driver and I've got the MC, Ed Sullivan, I don't think it'll be a problem. You guys will organise that for me, no worries. Otherwise, you won't be driving him. He's been
Hey, Ron's going to work on getting you that signed copy of Hark.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh,
I can't wait.
Brilliant, mate.
And listen,
it's
Timmy.
Brilliant. Oh.
Timmy, I need you to sign that CD too and put driver of the Fab Four. And George, I need you to sign it, Ed Sullivan. Can you do that?
Sure, we can.
You want me to put Timmy Onewood? That's your driver.
What? Sorry, what was the second word? Timmy what?
So you want me to put Timmy Onewood? That's a driver.
I'm serious. Can you do a little bit there about your skit now from the Blues Brothers?
Sure. What do you want to hear?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Plastic EP Show. You know, so much of the music we hear today is pre-programmed electronic disco. We never get a chance to hear master bluesmen practicing their craft anymore. By the year 2036, the music known today as the blues will exist only in the classical record department of your local public library. So tonight, while we still can, please welcome from Rock Island, Illinois, the blues band of Jolie and Jake and Elwood Blues. Ladies and gentlemen, the Blues Brothers.
You guys, have you done any commercials for the Blues Brothers? You guys are like dead ringers.
You know what? Whatever costume we're in, when he does the big bopper, he's the bopper. When I do Buddy Holly, hey, did you like the rock and roll medley last night? The Chuck Berry and the Jerry Lee?
That show is unbelievable. That show, as I said, I shared it on my big page, Plastic EP TV. It's there now, and I was blown away. I told you, I've not seen a show that's so good.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. That's awful nice of you to say.
Kind words, brother. Thank you very much.
Can you do some Australian impersonations? Timmy just did some Australian impersonations. They're so funny.
Listen, Mike.
How do you like you going, mate? You know what? I'm totally doing Crocodile Dundee.
You could tie your kangaroo down, mate, anytime of the day or night. It's all right. Crocky.
Keep me cockatoo go. Keep me cockatoo.
Hey, listen, I'm so excited. I'm talking with Artie Sarath from the Fab Four. You know, I'm a big fan of the Fab Four. Long before I met them.
Do you know what I did yesterday? I don't know if you saw the show, right? But Chachi, LaPrette, and myself, we do a show called Show Me Your Beatles Stuff. So what happens is I sent him a package from Australia, and inside I had Beatle EPs and records out of my collection I wanted to give it to him. So he opened it up live, and I started with a Rolf Harris record, and I put it up to the screen because the show before he said, "Sing Timey Kangaroo Down Sport."
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Have you not seen that? Give me a second. Just stay there. Stay there.
I grew up, Plastic, I grew up to that song, man. I heard that. My mom was an opera singer, so I get to hear all kinds of music, but that used to ring through the house as a child. It was brilliant.
So what I did was this. This is the album, right?
Oh, look at that.
So what I did for him was this. I go, Timey Kangaroo Down Sport. Timey Kangaroo Down. Timey Kangaroo Down Sport.
Now
Timey
don't
Kangaroo
go
Down.
now don't go acting a clown sport. Just Timey Kangaroo Down.
Here, I got something to show you, Plastic.
Yeah, go for it.
This is, I actually went to this show at the Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas, probably about 1987 or 88. The opening act was with the Righteous Brothers, and actually the opening act was Paul Revere and the Raiders, and the closing act was the Righteous Brothers. And I got about 15 years later, I got Bill Medley and Paul Revere to sign this.
That's unbelievable. You know,
one of their shows.
I want to interview Fang and I want to interview Mark Lindsay if I can.
I think Fang is doable. Fang is really a great guy. Lots of personality. Lots of just wonderful stories that he tells.
Mark Lindsay too. I mean,
Mark is tougher because just take my word for it.
Did we talk Ferraris that day? Was that Mark Lindsay? Okay.
He's a great guy, but getting him to do anything professionally like this, he would take my word. I'll tell
Fingers crossed we get Mark on anyway. We'll see.
We'll see.
We leave that open-ended, but I've got a few contacts working on it now, so hopefully he's great though. You know, he recorded.
Mickey Goldens.
Yeah, Mickey. Yeah, we worked.
I want to interview
Ron's your contact there.
I want to talk to him too. I want to tell you, Paul Revere and the Raiders, they recorded "I'm Not Your Stepping Stone" before the Monkees. You know that?
Yeah. Paul, I'll tell you Paul Revere's story. We were in Paul's wife was Sydney, did Marilyn Monroe for our show. And we went to Russia. We went to Riga, Latvia, and Moscow, and St. Petersburg back in 1991. And Paul was doing a show in Germany, and he was meeting us in Riga, Latvia. And it was right after the big military coup when communism fell. And they were giving us the best food they had, and you couldn't eat it. It was just horrible. So she gets on the phone, and she tells Paul Revere, you get a suitcase, fill it with some food, and guard it with your life. And about 15 of us went up in Paul Revere's room, and he opened that suitcase up, and there was peanut butter and fruit granola bars and all that stuff. Paul Revere saved our life on a 15-day. We were in Russia for 15 days. And
unbelievable. But you guys have got some stories.
Oh, yeah.
6 years ago, I was in Las Vegas and I saw the Fab Four live.
Yeah.
And you know what? Las Vegas is fantastic. You're flying with a plane and it goes to one side and you go, oh, that's Vegas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It turns in. And then when you're on the strip, you think you can just go for a walk to different places. You can't. We didn't know that. How do we know? We didn't know. We're from Australia. What do we know?
Yeah, it's a speck in the desert, but it ain't so small when you're right in the middle of it. You're like, wow.
When I first got to Las Vegas in 1983, the mob guys, these guys were still running the town, and it was quite a bit smaller. And I lived there during the boom years when they knocked all the old casinos down and built these gigantic gambling palaces.
$1 billion casino.
Unbelievable. Yeah. But it's opening back up. They're getting things back together. No entertainment yet, though. Although we have a Fab Four date at the Orleans in September, and I'm hoping that does come about.
That's great. But let me tell you, living in Las Vegas like you did and doing the Legends show, I mean, I don't want to get into too many stories, but you've actually been on stage with so many fabulous entertainers in that time.
Yep.
That's a story in itself.
I'll tell you a great story. One night, we had a fella from Beatlemania named Randy Clark, and he did John Lennon, and he was playing, and Jerry Lee Lewis came to the show. Jerry Lee Lewis, he was great. And he comes to the show, and he sits through, and John Lennon was right before Elvis, which is the end of the show. And he gets up out of his seat, walks on stage, he sees a piano, and Jerry Lee sits down at this piano and just starts playing it. And it was magic. Now, he was opening, or actually he was doing a show at the Sahara. This would be 1986 or 87. He was doing a show at the Sahara with Ricky Nelson.
Yeah.
And he just saw a piano on stage, nobody playing it, got up out of his seat, walked on stage, and just started banging. And it was unbelievable. It was magic. This living legend hitting that piano, the audience went crazy. And when Randy came off stage, we had a stage manager who was kind of he didn't know too much about show business. He was just, and he grabbed Randy and he says, "Hey, this is a professional show. You can't just have your buddies coming up out of the audience and getting on stage." And Randy got mad and he said a few choice words. He says, "Do you know who that was? That was a living legend, Jerry Lee Lewis." And he said, "Get out of my face." Although he didn't say "get out of my face." But that actually happened. And we were all standing in the wings watching it. Peter Noon did a show. He had a show on VH1 called My Generation. And that night, when we did our finale, Paul Revere, of course, Sydney was in the show, Paul Revere, Bobby Sherman. We did the finale with Paul Revere, Bobby Sherman, and Peter Noon. And we were doing Bill Medley's song, Rock and Roll Heaven.
Yeah.
And that ran on VH1 over here in the States. So,
I've got to say something. This is very important too. You know Ann Moses, who was main writer and editor for Tiger Beat?
yeah.
I interview her and she tells me these fascinating stories. And I've got to say, right, watch this. This is her book. It's called Meow. I told her she should have called it Raw because she's got so many stories to tell.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. And you know, in 68, she was there at the Elvis comeback special, sitting in the front around the square, watching Elvis because she was press.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
And
That was one of the
she
greatest
interviewed all of them.
all time.
That was a big deal.
Hey?
Yeah.
I was 6 years old in 68.
Do you know
Oh,
a plastic one night at Legends? We had a Kenny Rogers impersonator in the show and a lady doing Dolly Parton. And the real Kenny Rogers showed up. He came backstage and he said, "Wouldn't it be funny if I went out instead of you?" And Kenny Rogers went out and impersonated himself in the show.
And no one knew.
Pardon me?
No one knew until the end of the show.
Nobody knew. In fact, they interviewed the local press interviewed somebody from the audience, and the guy said after the show, he said, "Listen, I'm a Kenny Rogers fan. I've seen Kenny Rogers many, many times." He says, "If Kenny Rogers was filet mignon, this guy was hamburger." And then they said, that was the real Kenny Rogers." And then he did a bunch of backtracking, but it was funny. He was a great guy. Kenny Rogers was very, very nice. Great guy.
That song Islands in the Stream, said, that song Islands in the Stream with Dolly, just the greatest.
I got to do 4 shows with her, Plastic, in Dollywood. Got to do 4 shows with the real Dolly in Pigeon Forge. And what a sweetheart. And I mean, just Southern and down to earth. She got to meet my folks. My real brother at the time was doing Elwood with me, and got to perform. Got to see her sing "I'll Always Love You" 4 times live, and just a curtain away from each other. It was brilliant. She was amazing.
I got to say, I love Dolly Parton, right? I'm a big fan. I'd love to interview her too. Hopefully that comes around. But I got to tell you, I wrote a song called All American Country and Western Superstar. And one of the motives for writing the song, you go on YouTube and find it under the EP, All American Country and Western Superstar. And one of the motivations for me writing that song, I'll tell you, is Dolly Parton, right? That's how much I love her and admire her as an artist and what she went through and what she did. And yesterday, I was watching YouTube and I was watching a documentary about her. And I mean, she is like the queen of country music, you know, like, you know, Tammy Wynette, yes. You know, all these other people too. But Dolly Parton, that's what makes her unique.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Patsy Cline, God rest her soul, all, you know, just wow. Those wow people. Real legends. They weren't flashes in the pan, man. They were not.
And isn't it funny that they find out about you at the end? A lot of people might get instant success, but you know what? I'm just saying, I've been writing songs since 1981. I don't come out and say, oh, I've written 2,000 songs, original songs, which I have. Because people will find out eventually. But what I'm trying to say is, it's like I've slowed down on the songs now. I've got 74 albums out on iTunes and Spotify. No big deal. But my time now has been taken with interviews because what I realise is I'm actually documenting the times. Like you and me are here now. I can tell you in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, when you and me are sitting down or whatever, watching and not moving around too much, we'll be coming back watching this and go, that was a great interview. I remember that. That's what it is now. It's about historically getting everything down. There's so many people out there with stories. I've got to get their stories on video because something happens to these people, we don't know their stories. That's the dilemma I got now. Get them down now and let them tell their stories.
I've heard the term lately, and I loved it. I said every time an old person passes away, it's like a library and a museum has just been completely wiped off the earth, just gone. Each time. The memories that they take with them as a library and a museum just disappeared.
We've had a great career, no doubt. And, you know, when I first got to Las Vegas, the only other impersonators were men dressing up as women, doing Judy Garland and Bette Midler and Joan Rivers. And we really started something. Now there's impersonators, tribute acts all over. So in the tribute world, people know who we are because for years they came to Vegas, they came to Myrtle Beach, Branson. They're still going on. As I said in another interview, that they're the longest running show in Las Vegas history, and longer than any show. And it's really an awesome thing to be a part of, and to be a part of that history. Even though the people that run it aren't really too nice, but that's corporate, you know, it went corporate.
Business is business, that's business. But what I'm saying is the show ran for 27 years.
Yeah. And still going. Although, with the COVID-19 lockdown, everything's shut down. There is 0 shows in Las Vegas now. Imagine that. When you were in Las Vegas, 24-hour town, entertainment everywhere, it's not there. You know, they're just same with the buffets. It's going to be different, especially the next 6 months. Really going to be different. But
I've got to say,
our own thing. We're happy that we're happy for our time with legends, but we've moved on. We do our own shows. Timmy and I, we have a lot of fun. You know, I've had a great career. I always say this. I started professionally. I've been doing this for over 40 years, and I'm happy. We were happy we did Legends, happy to be a part of that. We got to travel. Timmy's done shows all over the world.
So is George.
Germany. Well, but we're going to do more. I'm going to try. Whether I do it or not, I don't know. I'm going to do more in the next 10 years than I did in the last 40. That's my goal. Whether I do it or not, who knows? But that's my attitude.
But you got the drive to do it. And you know what? You got to look back at it. Let's say the Beatles' career was 10 years. I'm just saying, in general, 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, the Legend Show is nearly 3 times that. So, I mean, what more can you ask? Of course you got to move on.
Yeah. And, you know, for so many years, Plastic, I just did Buddy Holly. And I had all its other aspirations that I wanted to do. Like I said, I've never just been one thing. I've never just been a guitar player, never just been a singer. I've always fancied myself as an entertainer. And now, because Tim and I do these shows, like the show you saw last night, there's two guys in a band did that show. And we did Ed Sullivan, Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, the Blues Brothers, Hank Williams, Joe Cocker, Mick Jagger. Now, who does that?
Nobody. But that's what makes it a great show. That's a great show.
Now, we also do a show, Ryan Pelton, who's a great Elvis impersonator and a good friend of ours, a very smart guy. We do a show called The Day the Music Didn't Die. Buddy Holly, Big Bopper, and Richie Valens. And the whole premise of the show is, what if there was no plane crash in 1959? What would these guys be doing today? And that show, the finale of that show, the last number, when we're all three standing on stage singing American Pie, there's like a big rock and roll medley. Chuck Berry, Little Richard, you know, we all get a song. It's a lot of energy. And then we bust into American Pie. And we've done that. We've had the privilege of doing that show many times. And that's a great theater show. So hopefully that's what we'll do.
Yep, but see, these shows, you got to understand, not only are you portraying these artists and giving them a tribute, it's like when the shows are of a professional level like you guys, you actually go away, whether you saw the real ones or you didn't, it's so close that they get caught up in the moment. And that's the same thing with the Fab Four. They get caught up that they're in 1963 or 4 and they're watching the Beatles because of the hype, because of how good they are. It's because of how good they are. How can I say? They're memorized. They're like, how can I say? It's like they're taking it in, thinking that they're actually there because the artists are so good.
Right. We kind of adopt the same premise. You know, whatever character we're doing at the time, we really try to be entertaining and we really try to do that music justice. And then at the end of the night or at the end of the show, or if you look at one of our song lists, our set list for the script for the show, they're all classic songs. Everybody, I can't tell you how many times that's when the Big Bopper opens the show. Everybody's singing, "Oh, baby, that's what I like," or "White Lightning," or whatever the song is. And it's that's what made last night a little difficult because we didn't have that interaction with the crowd. So we had to go a different way. We had to do it, take another approach. But that show, and they're going to still broadcast on the internet when they allow people back in. So our next show, the next time we play the Orange Blossom Opry, you'll still be able to see it. Only there'll be 300 people in the theater. That makes a big, big difference. But we're just happy to still be doing
It's good that we're all adapting to 2020 now because we're going a new direction, and that's what we're doing now. By doing this, it's a new direction. Everything now is a new direction. We're going towards something completely new, and this is entertainment now on the net. I'm personally, I don't watch TV. I watch everything on my phone. Yeah. It's better entertainment. I would rather watch you guys than watch something else because it's not entertaining.
Yeah. Well, that's awful nice of you to say. We're very happy to be with you today. We're going to Fort Lauderdale tomorrow, and we're playing at a club down there. But there'll be an audience there. Now it's 50%. It's only half a house, but we'll still give them the same show, and we'll probably do more. Probably wind up.
You know what's good? I don't know who's going with you, right? But like, if you had an iPhone and you've got someone there, I can send them the link, and they film you guys on stage, and it comes through on here live.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, man.
There's so many things we can do. But I got to tell you, there's a group, I love them. And what happens is they're in Calgary, Alberta. They're called All You Need Is Love. So what happens is we did a live show, and they did everything perfect. But the laptop couldn't handle the sound.
Yeah.
So they came in so loud, and we did it live. But fortunate enough for us, somebody videotaped the show in that room. So I spent 2 days getting the soundtrack and overlaying it over the film, and it's on the net now. All you need is love the show, Place to Keep Your Life TV, you can see it, and it turned out fantastic because if you get the right sound like you did at this show now that you did, that is perfection. That is like the Mona Lisa. That's the type of show that you did, because always to do a live show, if you haven't got the sound perfect, it's not perfect. Like now, I can tell you something, not that it matters. You guys have got a microphone or something there that's making a bit of a clicking noise. It's not a major issue. I don't know what it is. It could even be an external speaker. But, you know, I pick it up, I hear it, and that's why sometimes it doesn't work the way it is, that you can't get perfection. But when you get it, you know it's something great.
Yeah, right, mate.
Well, listen, we've had a great time with you. Thanks for having us on your channel, and we wish you the best. And you and I, we talk, you know, once a week.
We talk all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. You know, the funny thing is, I got the technology going all the time. I do interviews, and someone rings me, right? And I can't help it sometimes. That's why it's always better to turn the phones off. But you guys were fantastic. And I'll tell you what, I've seen the concert you did 3 times. It's on my page. And you're making a mistake out there, all you people around the world, not to watch how great this concert is. So tell me now, what have you got lined up now? You're going somewhere tomorrow, is it? And where else can they find you on the net?
You know, there's a bit on the Flower Power cruise from 2016. If you just put in George and Timmy or the Blues Brothers Flower Power, some stuff comes up on YouTube. That was the show I ripped my pants. I ripped my
What
pants.
happened? What happened? You fell down?
No, there was a guy with a camera doing a cruise video, and I kneeled down. I was playing the guitar, and I kneeled down, and I ripped the crotch out of my pants. Look that up. Blues Brothers Flower Power on YouTube. And we do like 5 minutes on me ripping my pants.
And I saw that fantastic photo of you, George, with Mickey Dolenz, Peter Noon, and who else was in the photo?
Peter Asher.
How great a photo was that, honestly?
It was great. All those guys are really terrific. Of course, they know each other. When we do these cruises, it's like Old Home Week or like a convention for us. We see all of our friends. I'm friends with little Anthony, and we started doing oldies cruises like 30 years ago. And we just sit. Dion too. Dion DiMucci from Dion and the Belmonts, and he tells stories. He was one of the last guys to see Buddy Holly. So Brenda Lee, also a very sweet lady. Of course, she's retired now, but you know, we get to meet our idols. We're doing what we love to do. We entertain the people, and we go on these themed cruises for Star Vista, and we recreate this atmosphere, and the fans are terrific. All the fans, all the people that we get to meet there, they become like family to us. And it's really been tough that Flower Power and Malt Shop got canceled. Malt Shop's not till November. They canceled it. So we got to get back. We got to get this thing going strong. We have to use technology now, but Tim and I are looking toward the future. There's a lot of, as you know, over 55 communities here in Florida. And when it's just he and I, you know, again, we show up, 2 guys show up, and they get Ed Sullivan, Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, you know, or any combination of the different characters that we do. And we don't do the same show. We never do the same show because we're improvising or we're telling jokes or there's somebody funny or somebody wants to hear, you know, somebody requests a song. I just play it. So we're not, you know, we're not stringent. We want whatever it is that the people want. That audience that night, they could say, hey, play The Wanderer. And we're playing The Wanderer or the Everly Brothers or whatever they want to hear. That's what we do. So we're just going to take it. The next 10 years will tell the tale. And hopefully, you know, down the road a little bit, we'd love to have you come to the States. And
I'm coming. I won't let us leave Australia, but I'll come.
To Australia.
I'll come, no question about that. But I got to tell you this: keep the plastic EP jokes coming because I can't stop laughing. And now Timmy knows who Plastic EP is, at least.
Yeah.
When you say a bigger load of Plastic EP. And the joke that you said yesterday about, going to say a bigger load of Plastic EP, he likes Davy Jones, Mickey Dolenz, Peter Talk, Mike Nesmith. And I go, he's there from down under, upside down.
We want you to come to America so you know what it's like to stand right side up.
I will. But, you know, I've been to the States 3 times. Think I'm very fortunate.
We've never been to Australia, so we would love
You'd
to
love
go.
it. The animals will kill you here.
Nah,
We'll be all right.
Those two-legged ones are on both sides of this planet.
Hey, I got to tell you one thing here. The food's unreal and the beer's unreal. You'd love it.
How's it? And Foster's better over there than it is over here?
Well, it comes from here, but as I said, we've got so many varieties of beers now and boutique beers that it's unlimited, that these boutique beers are as good as the big beers. It's like unbelievable now what they've got. Pale ales, everything. And they've got a place, let me tell you, 1 hour outside of Melbourne, there's a wine region, right? It's called Yarra Valley. I want you to look it up. It's got the best wineries there. You sit outside. You're surrounded by the mountains. You're surrounded by the grapevines. You sit there, have a coffee or have a wine, and you're in paradise. I can't tell you how great this region is. It's called Yarra Valley, Melbourne,
Yarra,
Australia. I want you to go on the net and have a look. You would love it.
Is it like Y-A-R-A, Yarra Valley?
Yeah, that's right, like the river. It's named after the river here, Yarra River.
All right.
You know something? I love you guys. You guys
got concerts going where you're at, or is it shut down because of the COVID?
These places, you're allowed to go there, but as I said, they can't seat too many people, but they've got like outdoor areas, so you can sit outside, which is good. But everybody's spacing themselves out, and it's like we want to get over this, like you guys want to get over this and get back to what we know to do. And I mean, I can understand when you tell me Vegas is empty. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean?
It's amazing.
A couple of weeks ago, Vegas was boarded up. Nothing. You can find those videos on YouTube. It's scary because it's a 24-hour town. You know, I've been there on New Year's Eve where you can't get one more person on the Las Vegas Strip. It's packed. And to see it empty, to see, you know, major cities everywhere, no traffic. We drove through Orlando a couple of weeks ago.
Vegas looked like a Cat 5 hurricane was coming.
Yeah.
You know, on my bucket list, one of the places for me to visit is Florida, and the other one is Miami. They're 2 places that are on my bucket list a must.
Well, hey, you're in luck because Miami is in Florida.
Okay, I don't know, but I want to go there, right? So I want to go to, I want to go to Orlando. I've got to rephrase that. Orlando and Miami. But let me tell you a quick story about New York, if I may. Okay, me and my wife are in New York. Never been there before. The shops are open, everything. This is before the pandemic, right? So we're walking around the streets and it's like 2 a.m. your time, but we still got our watches on or whatever, and we're thinking it's Australian time, so we're not tired. So we start walking off the main street to the back streets in New York there, near the square. Yeah, so we're walking around and people are bringing out their rubbish, this and that. And I said to my wife, listen, because you don't understand the mentality of like people that haven't been there before. I said, we don't want to go down these side streets in case we get mugged or something. Let's go back to the main street, which isn't like that, but you don't know. Okay, so I see a lady on a horse and cart. You know how they go around the famous rides around New York? It's customary that you go on it. So here it is, 2 a.m., and my wife is about 300 miles down the road. And I'm walking. I see the lady with the horse and cart. And I go up to her and I say, can I ask you how much you charge to go for a ride on the horse and cart? She goes, sure. I can do the last Central tour. I can take you around Central Park, give you the last tour. I said, she goes, I can do that for $180. I said, I don't want the muggers tour of Central Park, thanks. I don't want to go around Central Park at that time in case I get mugged. That's what I said. And then I said, you see my wife down there? And she's 300 miles down the road yelling what I'm doing, talking to the lady in the horse. And I'm saying, listen, it's late at night. Your horse is tired. You're tired. How much do you want to charge me to go around the block and just take me to my hotel? He goes, $80.
Yeah.
I said, listen, wait, okay, listen. It's late at night. You want to go home. Your horse wants to be fed, as I said. I'll give you $35. I go to her. And she goes, you want 1970 prices? And I said, yeah, I want 1970 prices. And she goes, all right. The gag is, she actually said, you want a price that's like 15 years ago. And I'm going, yes, I do. And she did it for the $35.
Be damned. Nice work. Nice.
That's a story.
That's a great
That's
one.
supposed to be funny.
You're lucky she didn't kill you.
And you know, the other funny part is she takes us around and stops on a side street, and behind us is central, is the what do you call it? The square. Times Square.
Oh, Times Square. Yeah.
Right. So she's got the horse and cart on one angle and Times Square's behind. And she stops the horse and cart for no reason. And she goes, give me your camera. Give me your camera. And I'm thinking, what for? She goes, I want to take a photo. And I realize that she wants to take a photo with Times Square in the background. So she takes the photos, and I go back to the room after, and the pictures are dark. You can't see nothing.
I figured she was going to keep the camera, have you give her the other $55 and have her $80. Yeah.
You guys are so funny, all right? Listen, we're going to wrap it up. It's been a great interview up to nearly an hour. So, I mean, I've had a laugh. But do me a favor. Don't go. Stay there. All right, just stay there. All right, I want you to take the show out. So from Plastic EP here in Melbourne, Australia, thank you so much to George and Timmy. I'll cross over to you. Take us out.
Oh, we going to take you out?
Yeah.
We want to thank all of you people for joining us here. Tune in next week for another episode of Tribute to the Blues Brothers with Plastic EP. And now back to Bonanza. Good night, everybody.
See you, Timmy.
Pleasure was mine. Good night, Mike.
Mine too. See you, George. Love the show.
Thank you. We love you guys. And thank you, Plastic. Real pleasure, man. Pleasure's
Me
mine.
too.
Good on all ya. We'll see you on the other side.
That's it.